Hi everyone, how are you doing this Monday morning? It's Robin here from Win with Robin, and I thought I would just make a quick video because I was talking to a couple of people this morning, and it's the same things that keep holding people back in their business. And I thought if I could maybe share a couple of them with you, you could see if these are mistakes that you're making, and maybe you could avoid doing them in the future. And the first one is really, really common. It's lack of focus. Okay, now you've maybe heard that acronym of following one course until successful, and it really makes sense. And it's so common when I talk to people that they go from one thing to another, to another, to another, and they never stick with the same thing until they master it, till they get good at it. So my advice is to focus on one thing and try and shut everything else out until you get the hang of it. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, let's give me some feedback if you're getting any value from this. Now, the second thing is what we call weapons of mass distraction. Now, it kind of ties in with the focus thing. You maybe hear people talking about bright, shiny object syndrome. We get emails sent to us every day, telling us about the latest gizmo on Warrior, etc. That's going to, change your life. It's going to make your business suddenly become super easy. They don't work, okay? And you can move from one opportunity to another, one platform to another. Again, it's this thing about sticking to one thing. The grass isn't always greener on the other side, and so don't get distracted by things all the time. Try and just keep focused on the same thing. Another classic one that is cropped up this morning with someone I was talking to is productivity. It's finding time. It's not always a full-time business for everyone. For me, I don't go out to work, so it's great. It's lunchtime here in Scotland. The sun's shining. I'm going to go out on my bike soon, but productivity is difficult. How do you fit it in to the time that you've got? And there's a law called Parkinson's law, which says that a job, a task will the time allowed to do that task, the job will fill that time, which really means that unless you're really strict with your time, unless you say, right, I'm going to give myself 30 minutes to do this job, and it's got to be done, or I want to launch a new website by the end of the month, or I want to finish a book by such and such a time. If you make a time scale, you're much more likely to actually achieve it. But if you just go, yeah, I want to do that, I want to make a certain amount of money at some point in the future, you'll probably never get there. So use this Parkinson's law and set yourself concrete objectives, time-based objectives, and you'll get a lot more done. Trust me on that one. Now, talking of that, another huge issue I see all the time, and it's partly us marketers that make this problem happen. It's unrealistic expectations. And yeah, we all want to be millionaires overnight, but hi Joanne, how you doing? It's all very well, setting these expectations, but it's mostly unrealistic. There are so many opportunities out there. It's fantastic. The online space is full of opportunities, but it is still, it's hard work. Okay, so don't think you're going to be able to do it overnight. Treat your online business, your online ventures, as a marathon and not a sprint. And if you think for the long term, you're much more likely to actually keep going and not get sidetracked and be successful. Hey David, how you doing? Good to see you. So treat your online ventures as marathons and not sprints. And let's be honest, you've got to expect to do some hard work. It's not push a button and get rich overnight. It just won't happen like that. These are unrealistic expectations. And the sooner you can get them out of your head, the the quicker you'll actually become successful. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about, and I get this all the time when I'm speaking to people, is their unwillingness to invest in their online business. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about money. I'm talking about investing in time. I'm talking about investing in energy, and I'm talking about investing in money too. But you've got to give it time. You've got to be able to devote enough time to make it work. You can't, to start with, just do 5 minutes a day, even an hour a day. Part-time online businesses are tricky because, you may have to go to work during the day, but you need to allocate a decent amount of time, especially to start with. I mean, this is lunchtime coming up for here in Scotland. My day's work is done. I'm not going to do anything more after this. But, when I first started online, I would work 14 hours non-stop sometimes just to get something done on a website or something like that. So you have to give it time. You have to be able to throw energy at it. I've got tons of energy. Energy is not a problem for me, but you have to be able to give it everything to start with. Give it 110%. And then the lack of investment in financially is always a problem. I'll be honest with you, there's no such thing as free traffic, really. You need to invest in advertising if you want to attract people to your business. But you also need to invest in the right tools to do the job, and it doesn't have to be a huge amount of money. If you want to message me, I'll tell you all the tools I use, and most of them hardly cost anything at all. But you also need to invest in things like mentors, mastermind groups. You need to, I'm going to Arizona in April, for example. The actual event that I'm going to isn't a huge amount of money, but it'll cost me $1,000 to get there. And then I've got to stay in a hotel, blah, blah, blah. So it's a couple of $1,000 probably just to go for a long weekend of training. But I know that I will get that money back 10 times over, 100 times over. So you have to be willing sometimes to invest. It's not maybe straight away, but you cannot do it on the cheap. If you're too cheap, it won't work. Okay. The other thing I want to say is, you might be thinking, okay, you're spending all that money, Robin, but I don't know if I could do that. I'm just starting out. Maybe nobody will want to do business with me. Maybe I'm no good. And what I would say is, it's okay to have doubts. We all have doubts, self-doubts. Even that stable genius, Donald Trump, he probably has the occasional doubt when he's straightening his tie in the morning. Even him will have doubts sometimes. And it's okay to have doubts. And once you kind of get that into your head, it's, if you embrace that and say, well, okay, I'm scared, but I'm just going to do it anyway. There's a saying, it's called the imposter syndrome. And we all suffer, everybody suffers from the imposter syndrome at some time or other. We feel that we are just not good enough to do it, that there's other people who are better than us at doing this. So just acknowledge it. Just say, yeah, okay, there may be other people that are better at this, but I'm getting better every day, and I can do this. So have that self-doubt, acknowledge it, but then move on with confidence that you can actually make your business work. Now, these are just a small selection of issues that I hear people saying to me all the time. And if you can acknowledge them, accept them, and try and avoid making the mistakes, and just move on with your business. I hope that's helpful. Please give me some feedback if you got some value from that, and I'll catch you next time. That's all from Robin at Win with Robin. The sun is shining in Scotland, so I'm going out on my bike. That's it now. Bye bye.